sometimes we cannot informally, using our arrow diagrams, find the inverse of a function. For example, if f of x equals 3x minus 2 over 2 minus x, I have two different x's here, and using the arrow diagram, anytime I have two separate x's, I cannot use the arrow diagram to informally find the inverse of a function. So we're going to come up with an algebraic way to find the inverse of a function. And it's a four-step method. Our step one is we are going to replace f of x with y. So in this case, I'm going to write y equals 3x minus 2 over 2 minus x. Step two is to swap x and y. Well, just going to swap x and y. So everywhere there's a y, I replace it with an x. Everywhere there's an x, I replace it with a y. Step three, which can take more than one step, is to solve for y. So to solve this equation for y, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 minus y. And that's going to give me x times 2 minus y is equal to 3y minus 2. I'm going to distribute the x. That is going to give me 2x minus xy equals 3y minus 2. I'm going to now move everything with a y to one side of the equation and everything without a y to the other side of the equation. I'm going to move the negative xy over here so that I have positive coefficients. So I'm going to add 2 and add xy to both sides. So that gives me 2x plus 2 equals 3y plus xy. I am now going to factor the right-hand side of the equation by pulling out the common y, and that's left with 3 plus x. The left-hand side stayed the same. And now I'm going to divide both sides by the 3 plus x. And coming up here, I get y is equal to 2x plus 2 over 3 plus x. Our final step for finding an inverse function algebraically is to replace y with f inverse of x. So that y becomes f inverse of x is equal to 2x plus 2 over 3 plus x. And you can take our original function and the inverse that we had, compose it in both directions, and you will end up with x as its final answer. Okay, I'm not going to do that just to save time on the videos. I'm going to do a couple more inverse functions using this four-step algebraic method. Okay, on a quiz or on a test or even on your homework, you can do steps 1 and 2 at the same time. So the next function that I want to do is cube root of x minus 1. So the first thing it says to do is replace f of x with y and then swap x and y. So I'm going to do steps 1 and 2 together. So this becomes a y, and then I'm going to replace it with an x. That x becomes a y. Now I'm going to solve for y. To undo the cube root, I am going to cube both sides. To undo subtracting 1, I am going to add 1 to both sides. I also swap this two sides here, and now I'm going to replace y with f inverse of x. Note that I could have used the arrow diagram to do this one because I only had one x in the function. But this method will always work. The final example for finding inverse functions algebraically is going to be f of x equals x minus 1 over 5. So replace f of x with y, and then swap x and y. This becomes x equals y minus 1 over 5. Solve for y. That gives me 5x equals y minus 1. Add 1 to both sides, and I'm going to bring the y over here. Y equals 5x plus 1, which means f inverse of x is equal to 5x plus 1.